and welcome to your classroom lesson, which just so happens to be in Miss B's dining room. What we're going to do right now is we're going to continue on with our 4.1 notes. So take out your 4.1 notes and we're going to continue. Okay, so where we left off yesterday was we talked about slope. And slope is represented by m and this equation here, where we're taking y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Basically, we're looking at the change in y, which we denote like this with a little triangle and a y, over the change in x. We need to figure that out. And like we found out in our last example, that our slope was -4 when we used our 2 points, plugged them into the equation, and solved. So now for our second example, we're going to do slopes of a horizontal and vertical lines. It says to find the slopes of each line, state whether the slope is 0 or undefined. So if you come over here, remember a line that goes straight up and down has a slope of 0. Think of it as Miss B walking along the front of the room. She's not going up or down a hill, it's just 0. A line, however, that goes straight up and down is denoted as undefined. Think of it as how Miss B cannot walk up the side of the classroom walls. Alright, so let's take a look at an example. The first one is line K, so I'm going to go ahead and find it, and it's right here, line K. And we're going to use the 2 points. Now remember, our points are always X and then Y. So remember, first is the change in Y. Remember, it doesn't matter which one we make our Y sub 2 and our Y sub 1. So, at the example, they chose this point here, which is 2, 1, to be their y sub 2, and this is their y sub 1. So, we're going to do 1 minus -3, and then if we look at the x values, we're going to do, remember, we have to start with the same point we started on. For the y's, we're going to do 2 minus 2. Alright, now to solve this, remember, whenever we subtract a negative number, we change it to be plus the opposite. So it was -3, so the opposite is +3. So 1 plus 3 is 4. Then 2 minus 2 is 0. Alright, now remember, when we plugged 4 divided by 0 into our calculators, or actually it was 2 divided by 0 yesterday, we found that on our calculators we would get an error. So the same thing will happen if you put 4 divided by 0 into your calculator. Division by 0 is always going to be undefined. It is not possible to do. So therefore, the slope of line K, which is this one here in pink, is undefined. Alright, let's take a look at the next one. The next one, I underlined the points in blue. Again, we start with our y's. It doesn't matter which one. I'm not really sure which one they started with, so we're going to go with this one here. So they did 2 minus, what's our other y value? 2. And then they did -2. Since we started with this one, we made this our first one, which is kind of confusing because we denote it as the y sub 2 and x sub 2. And then our x over here is 3. So I come back here. 2 minus 2 is 0. If you got that wrong, I'm disappointed. And -2 minus 3, remember we make it plus the opposite is -5. However, as soon as we see a 0 in our numerator, little light bulb should come off in our head, okay? And we should say, ding, 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 our slope is just going to be 0. So the slope of a horizontal line is 0. Pause the video and look at this and make sure you understand. All right. Now, to the second page of our notes, finding the slope from a table. Now, this is pretty easy. You just have to know what you're looking for. Always, always, always in the table is first going to be our x points and then our y's. Remember, again, our equation is m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So all I need is 2x, y points. Now, I can either get them from the table if there is no graph, or I can come over here to the graph and I can pick 2 points. Now, the textbook wants us to use these 2 points here. So B, I have to look at where that's at. So first I do my x values, which is at 300. Okay, so that's going to be my first one, 300. And then if I come across here, it's at 75. And then they also asked us to use point D. If I come over and go up, it's at 100 for my x value, and then my y, which is the vertical axis, is 25. So again, remember, slope is the change, which is denoted by the triangle, in y over the change in x. So we're going to take our 2 points, which we have here, and I'll just write them over here. So we have 300, 75, and then we have 100, 25. So we're going to use this as our first one, ignore the telephone, and this as our second one. So first we do 75 for our y values, and then our second y value is 25. So I'm going to do 75 minus 25. Next, I'm going to do my x values. That's going to be 300 minus 100, which they already wrote for us. 75 minus 25 is 50, and then 300 minus 100 is 200. Now, remember Miss B's easy peasy rule. If they both end in zeros, I can cross them out. So then my fraction becomes 5 over 20, which is much easier to simplify. I'm looking for the GCF, which is the greatest common factor. What's the biggest number I can divide both of these by? Well, the answer is 5. When I take a 5 out of the top and the bottom, I end up with 1/4. So I know that the cost increased by $1 for every 4 miles traveled. Okay. At this point, you need to do the quick check. I will go in and fill in the answers for you. However, I want you to pause the video right now, and I want you to do these problems yourself. So go ahead and pause it. Okay, for this one, you have your y's and you have your x's. So if I do 4 minus 2 over 2 minus -3, I should get a slope of 2/5. Now, I know that this is going to be positive because remember, with slope dude yesterday, positive. All right, as it goes that way. If I come over to this one here, 1b, I automatically know it's negative. Like slope, dude. Nice, nice, negative. So again, I have 2 points. These points are given to us, but this one here is our x first. Remember, -2, comma, 2. And then this point here they want us to use, and that's we didn't go, it's 2, my bad, 2, but we didn't go up at all, so it's just going to be 0. So I take my y values first, and I'm going to do 2 minus 0, and then I'm going to do, remember I started with this point, so I have to start here, -2 minus 2. Remember, it becomes plus the opposite on the bottom, so it equals 2 over -4, which simplifies to -1/2. All right, you should be a pro at this by now. This one, if I were to write it out, it would be undefined. All right, again, x, y, -2 minus 1, and then our x values is 3 minus 3. Without even doing the operation of subtraction, I know 3 minus 3 is 0, automatically undefined. Then the last one, they want you to plot the points. So I know 1 is at 0, 0, over 1, down -2, over 2, down -4, which is here, and then the other one was -1 up 2. So automatically, and this is the best straight line Miss B could draw, I know it's going to be a negative slope. If I plug into my formula, which I'm not going to do because at this time you should be a pro at this, you should have a slope of -2. Remember, I don't even actually have to use this formula because I can do, remember, slope also equals the rise over the run. So I'm going down 1, 2, over 1, down 1, 2, over 1. So down 2 over 1, it has to be negative. -2 over 1 equals -2. That's it. Now, I want you to stop the movie and do what is next on your list.